Donald Trump's dark past continues to surface. There's nothing he could do with this government shutdown to try to hide it. There are some investigative journalists who are doing incredible work. This new report, an explosive new investigation by Jason Leopold and others at Bloomberg, they've uncovered previously undisclosed details about an 18-month money laundering investigation into Jeffrey Epstein that took place alongside the 2007 federal sex crimes probe, according to emails and documents that Bloomberg obtained from Epstein's personal Yahoo account and sources familiar. Now, how could this all be connected with Donald Trump? Well, we are aware from that 18,000 email trove from a prior report by Bloomberg back in September of 2025, there was this email, August 23rd, 2007, from Ghislaine Maxwell to Jeffrey Epstein's Yahoo account, gproject@yahoo.com. She writes, "You have to assume they," meaning the feds and state investigators, you have to assume they went to Donald Trump, then Gossman, the docs in WPB, Pascal, etc. G. Now, who is Gossman? Gossman is Abe Gossman. Gossman sold Donald Trump the West Palm Beach, WPB, West Palm Beach property in 2004 that Jeffrey Epstein introduced Donald Trump to. Epstein told Donald Trump that he wanted to buy that property in 2004. Then at a foreclosure auction, Donald Trump bought it from Gossman's people from underneath Epstein for like $40 million. And then a few years later, Donald Trump sold it to a Russian oligarch for like twice, almost 3 times as much. I mean, Trump sold it, I think, for like $90 million. And it's curious that Ghislaine is linking Trump and Gossman. And one of the issues about the falling out between Epstein and Donald Trump that many speculated, Michael Wolff, Trump's biographer, speculated about this. And you had, at least according to Wolff, this is something that Epstein had told him, that Epstein was in a fight with Donald Trump over Epstein making accusations. Hey, how'd you flip this house so quickly with this Russian oligarch? When I was going to buy this for $35 million, you screwed me out of all of this money. And one of the things that Epstein had always wondered is arising out of a financial crimes investigation, or arising out of the investigation into Epstein as well that led to the 2007-2008 federal investigation and the non-prosecution agreement that Epstein signed, is who was telling on Epstein? And Epstein always wondered, because of all the stuff that Trump knew and their friendships and what they all did together, is it possible that Trump was one of the people who was actually telling the FBI, because Trump was worried that Epstein was going to talk about the curious and speculative, bizarre nature, or question marks, we'll just say, surrounding the purchase of that property from Gossman, and then the sale to the Russian oligarch that netted a huge amount of money for Donald Trump right here. You all know by now Julie Brown. She's been on the MeidasTouch podcast. She was on this Epstein beat, broke a lot of stories. She talks about this Bloomberg piece. She goes, great story about how Florida prosecutors let Epstein off the hook, not only for abusing children, but also for possible financial crimes. While we knew they were investigating money laundering back in 2007, details of this part of their investigation had been scant. These emails show that Epstein was sweating it out. And also from this Jason Leopold investigation, we've seen, and from the New York Times work as well, that they were able to get their hands on court documents this past week detailing the scope of the 2007 investigation. Here, for example, is Bear Stearns' internal record about a subpoena it received. And it talks about how on August 27, 2007, members of the firm's litigation departments spoke with United States attorneys. And it talks about how Bear Stearns received a grand jury subpoena from the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida. August 15, 2007, the subpoena sought all documents referring or relating to Jeffrey Epstein from January 1st, 2001 to the present. Additionally, the subpoena sought all employment records maintained at the firm for Epstein. And from what we're hearing as well, at least the actual day-to-day prosecutors of that office, the ones who would have reported to the United States attorney at that time, Alex Acosta at that time, they thought that there was enough in the financial crimes to go after Epstein. But Alex Acosta, who ended up becoming a United States attorney, or rather Alex Acosta, who was the United States attorney, who led the Department of Labor under the first Trump administration, never prosecuted that either, in addition to entering into the sweetheart deal. And then the oversight Dems posted, new reporting directly contradicts what Alex Acosta told our committee recently at the deposition. We must get the truth and facts about Acosta's investigation into Epstein's financial crimes. Ranking member Robert Garcia says it's now clear that former United States Attorney Alex Acosta may have misled Congress because Acosta never admitted that his office was so intimately involved with an investigation into Epstein's financial network. And of course, we know now Attorney General Bondi is actively concealing details of an investigation into not just the Epstein's files, but the Epstein finances that are likely in that investigation as well, and the potential financial crimes, the financial links that were there. And this is just a question. What's Donald Trump trying to hide with these financial connections? Is he trying to hide anything? These are the answers that we need to know. And is this what's in the Epstein files as well, in addition to the other stuff? Let's bring in Harry Litman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, Talking Feds podcast, and Talking Feds Substack. Whoa, Harry, you know, they say follow the money, follow the money. And oftentimes the answers to these are money related also, and Epstein's network, financial network, with very questionable aspects of who's funding this guy, how this guy with really no financial background become this financial advisor to all of these people, and how to even make his money. No one even understood. Is that what's in the files that's also protecting rich and powerful men that Trump wants hidden, and maybe Trump's own involvement there too? What do you make of all of this, Harry?
So true. And, you know, follow the money. I think they buried the money. So, Ben, we're in 2007, and that's what really matters. It matters in a few different respects. The first is the deal that Alex Acosta provided Epstein at the time was a sweetheart deal, would understate it. Just a, you know, Valentine Day smooch sweetheart deal. He basically got hardly any time in jail, and the rest was subject, anything growing out of the crimes. And I presume, I think it's, you know, that was how Epstein operated in life. So money laundering offenses would be covered by an overall agreement and release that said, anything growing out of those crimes, we won't prosecute. It just couldn't have been cushier for Epstein. And obviously he had to have been aware at the time. And now we learn, given this revelation, that almost certainly Acosta and the office, you know, knew what an even ultra sweetheart deal they were giving him. That's one point about 2007. The other, this is a little bit more speculative, but Donald Trump, 2007, he doesn't give a shit about, you know, sexual offenses. That's part of his swagger. This is Access Hollywood Donald Trump, who boasts about his gross treatment of women. So to me, it screams off the page that Ghislaine Maxwell is advising Epstein that when you're talking about money laundering, they're going to go talk to, first name mentioned, Donald Trump. Why is that? They're not going to go to talk to Donald Trump because they want to find out about all your conduct with, you know, underage girls. That's going to eventually come out and has been the big scandal here. This is about money and money laundering, and Ghislaine Maxwell's first point is they're going to go talk to Donald Trump. You know, get your mind around that and what it says about her, and she's his, you know, absolute right-hand person. Her sense of Trump's role, including in potentially some kind of financial shenanigans. So the reason, by the way, that we had the subsequent prosecutions is it turned out that the Acosta sweetheart deal only was good in Florida, and it was even connected to the Florida state authorities. But so at the time, they were thinking they were settling it all, and then there's these when the deal transpires. But then there's these what about follow the money? And Ghislaine Maxwell says, who are they talking to? So, this has been in a way such a subject of intrigue. What is it? It's obvious all the things that he's just skated his way through. This is the one that he fears above all. And we've speculated, is there some, you mentioned Michael Wolff. I think Wolff talks about possible pictures of Trump with young girls on his lap, maybe. But here's a whole intriguing other side of things. Is there within these files that are being withheld from the American people evidence of other sorts of crimes that Trump doesn't want to come out? I'm a prosecutor and I believe in beyond a reasonable doubt before you charge. So I'm not alleging it here. That's what evidence and proof is about. But I am alleging a earnest effort by the White House, abetted by Mike Johnson and the House, that are keeping close so they don't have to swear in a person who would give the pivotal vote to releasing these files to the American people. So I am saying in earnest, they are really squirrely about not wanting this stuff to come out. Why is it, given the brazenness of Trump's past conduct, that he's been by and large unapologetic for?
I go right to this Abe Gossman property because there may be more, but we know that there's an email from Ghislaine Maxwell now in 2007 that says Trump Gossman WPB documents. Okay, let's use our common sense and our lawyer skills. So you've got that. So you go, who's Gossman? Oh, Abe Gossman. What's the relationship? Oh, he's the guy who was supposed to sell his home to Epstein, but then sold it to Donald Trump for $40 million. Well, what Donald Trump then do with that property? Oh, he sold it to a Russian oligarch 2 or 3 years later. How much did he sell it for? Okay, if he sold it for 52 million, that could say good deal. You made $12 million. I'd assume that Donald Trump would have maybe added something to it to make $13 million more. That's within the realm of believability. Okay, maybe he sold it for $55 million, $15 million profit, super quick like that off a property like that. What'd you do? I don't know. Maybe you came up with some new something great. You wait a minute. You sold it just a few years later for $95 million. 95. What'd you do to it? Nothing. Well, he did a little bit of painting. So you're telling me that he bought the house for 40, sold it a few years later for 95. Who'd he sell? Who would do such a deal? Rybalov, one of Putin's guys, like a Russian oligarch? Well, that's certainly odd. Well, then what did he do with it? Did the Russian guy, live in there and love it and cherish it? No, a few years later, he demolished it. Oh, that doesn't make much sense. So what I'd want to see, I could ask the questions. I'd want to see in the file, did Abe Gossman get money back from Donald Trump? And I don't know, but what was there any there? I don't know. Did Epstein get any money from this, from going away? I have no clue one way or the other, but I'd want to see it. That stuff could be in the files. What did Donald Trump do with this property? Did Donald Trump speak at all with the FBI regarding Epstein at all? Are there witness interviews at all regarding the relationship? Certainly Ghislaine and Epstein thought that the FBI could be talking with Donald Trump. So are we going to see witness statements? Is he mentioned as a CI or not? Let me be very clear. I don't have these answers, but if you were to think about, and I'm giving you as a lawyer who represented lots of people in the back in my past, what would someone like Trump be worried about? What would my clients potentially be fearful of coming? Stuff like that. It would be on their top of their mind, where they would say, I don't want people to know that I was talking to, I don't know this or that. So I could go through that analysis. I don't know the outcome. I want to be very clear. I don't know, but I'm a lawyer and I've represented people, and these are the types of things that I think could be going down. Harry, give you the final word.
Great. Look, you raised a point that I don't think I'd thought of, and most people hadn't either. We've been thinking that Trump really wants to avoid revelations having to do with possible sexual misconduct. And now we've also raised, and this is a pretty straightforward implication, involvement with money laundering or with Epstein and money. And I will again second your point, seconding mine, that this is just kind of speculative talk about that goes to not Trump is a criminal, but rather goes to why we all need to see the documents. But you've raised a third point I hadn't thought of. He might be a witness. So the 302s, which are the FBI reports that are coming out, may include witness Donald Trump doing all kinds of stuff, maybe lies, but showing himself to be a stool pigeon and the like. And that's a third different kind of embarrassment that these 300,000 pages or whatever might include.
Everybody subscribe to the Talking. Come on. Come on. Like, what do we think is in there, everybody? I don't know, but let's use the Talking Feds.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Talking Feds YouTube, Talking Feds Substack, Talking Feds podcast. Harry, have a great one. Thanks, everybody.
You too.
New Meidas merch. Head to store.meidastouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.meidastouch.com.